Good afternoon, friends. I'm Dr. Ajay Shah, bringing you another Facebook Live. Uh, in this live, we're going to talk about weight loss. I've done 14 segments on weight loss, so please watch those segments on YouTube. Start with segment one. Segment one already has about 170 views, so start with segment one and then follow through all 14 segments. Today is segment 15. This segment is segment 15. Uh, Let me tell you why I do this Facebook Live. I do this Facebook Live as my giving back to the community, to the society. I do this Facebook Live so I can stay myself very focused on my own health. I do this Facebook Live because I like to interact with all of you. I like to learn from you. I like to share my knowledge. I like to discuss my ideas so I can learn from your ideas. So these Facebook Lives are essentially our own teamwork of doing our own health together. So I do this Facebook Live as like my hobby. I do it whenever I'm off. I do it 3, 4 times a day. Even on my working days, I do once or twice a day. And it's a best way I can communicate with all my friends, all my family. So let's start with segment number 15. I covered in last few segments the role of exercise in weight loss. If you follow my program of whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, you don't need to exercise to lose weight. You will start losing weight 1 to 3 pounds even without any exercise. But if you exercise, you will start losing weight much more rapid way. It will be a lot more fun. Your endorphins will go up. Your sleep will improve, so you will have a less calories next day. Your mood will improve, your depression will go away, your emotional eating will go away. So regular exercise will help the weight loss even though it's not necessary. But if you do exercise and eat healthy, you will speed up your weight loss. And definitely after losing weight, continuing with exercise will help to maintain the weight loss. So definitely start exercise. Start slow. You can start as simple as walking 30 minutes a day and build up to about 1 to 1.5 hours of walking. Try to get at least 10,000 steps, even possibly 15 to 17,000 steps. Do some type of weight training, whether you do body weight like squats and push-ups and pull-ups, or you can do machine weights at a gym, or you can do free weights at the gym or at home. I highly recommend doing weight training because as you lose weight, as you lose body weight, you have a risk of losing muscle also. Obviously, the goal is to lose fat, not the muscle. And as you cut down on your calories, you actually take a risk of losing muscle. If you do regular strength training or weight training, your muscle hopefully will be maintained and you will only lose fat. So please add strength training or weight training also as you start losing weight. Also do some regular stretches. Also do some regular stretches and yoga, which will help also to maintain flexibility and maintain your joints and your ligaments. So again, do all different type of exercise, including cardio exercise, including walking, jogging if your body can allow, or running, or elliptical, or stationary bike. Also do some strength training and also do some stretches and yoga. Um, I also highly recommend that if you want to lose weight in a serious way, sleep at least 7 to 8 hours. People who don't sleep 7 hours, their appetite goes up. Next day, they have a lot of unhealthy calories. It actually also increases your visceral fat. It also increases chance of emotional eating. People who are night shift workers, many times they are obese. So that way, sleep plays a large role. So make sure you sleep 7 to 8 hours. I have a separate video on my YouTube channel, how to get a better sleep. Please watch that video. Other thing I want you to all of you to watch, and I've been recommending that video over last few segments, but I'm going to recommend one more time. And that video is Chef AJ's video on secrets to weight loss on forks over knives. Secrets to weight loss on forks over knife. That's one of the best video you can watch. It's 1 hour long. It's worth watching it. I I did explain everything from that video over last 14 segments. So if you don't watch it, that's okay. But if you watch it, you will definitely get benefits. So watch that video on Secrets to Weight Loss by Chef AJ on Forks Over Knives. Also, start watching videos by Brenda Davis. She has a lot of good videos on YouTube. Brenda Davis. She was also on our Facebook Live last year. So watch that interview on my YouTube channel. Also, start watching videos by Dr. Joe Furman. He has many good videos. Also, Neil Bernard. Also, Din Ornish. So there are a lot of good videos what you can watch. And like I explained in the last few segments, that as you become more knowledgeable, you start having the same behavior what you actually starting to know. So knowledge about health, knowledge about whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, knowledge about exercise, knowledge about sleep, knowledge about stress management is very important. So start having maximum knowledge as much as you can. Obviously, we all are busy, but I would highly recommend if you want to lose weight, spend at least 15 to 30 minutes of watching YouTube videos or reading a book on whole food plant-based no oil diet, or watch my videos on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to my channel. I have about 300 videos on my YouTube channel. Most of them are about healthy eating, healthy lifestyle. So start watching those videos. Um, the other thing, which was a question on Facebook, that I am 65 years old and I'm hoping to lose weight. How can I make sure that I lose weight in the right way? I think as people get older, their muscle mass starts to go down and they start to become, we call sarcopenic. And sarcopenia, or less muscle mass, predispose you to having a lot of visceral fat, having prediabetes, having diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, and many other chronic disease. So maintenance of muscle mass is very important, particularly after age 65. That's where you need to start doing regular strength training, like I explained you earlier. Also need to take adequate amount of protein. People above 65 need slightly more protein, about 10% more protein, still probably about 65 to 85 gram, not more than that. Nobody needs protein more than 100 gram per day, not even athletes. So if you are 65-year-old, you may need 65 or 70, 75 gram of protein, which you can easily get from whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. You may have to increase consumption of your lentils, beans, and legumes to have a higher protein in your meals. You can have a small amount of animal product. Like I said, I'm myself a vegan, but I don't necessarily ask you or force you to be a vegan. You can actually be still very healthy as long as only 10% calories come from animal products. And those animal products should be also high quality, grass-fed meat, grass-fed chicken, um, uh, uh, skim milk or non-fat milk, non-mercury fish, uh, definitely no processed meat like salami, bacon, or hot dogs. Those are definitely carcinogenic. So again, if you want to have 10% calorie from animal product, try to have the most healthy animal products as much as you can. Definitely not having burgers and fast food meat and other things. So have a very sensible animal products in your diet, and definitely not more than 10% of your calories. So again, maintaining muscle mass after age 65 is a very good question, and I want you to maintain the muscle mass because it will prevent many chronic disease. Um, I think another question was that if I am diabetic and if I start to lose weight, what should I watch out for? And that's a very good question. As people start losing weight, and if they have type 2 diabetes, the sugar will start to come down and they will need less insulin, less medications to control the diabetes. And that's the reason I always ask you to stay in touch with your doctor while you are following my program. Make sure you talk to your doctor about your sugars. Check your sugar more frequently as you are losing weight. Start cutting down the medication by asking your doctor. So if you're diabetic, one of the best thing you can do is to get down to body mass index of 22. Let me tell you one thing. Many of my diabetic patients, their body mass index is 25 or higher, 30, 40, 40, 50, even body mass index. They are many times 100 pounds uh, way more than their ideal body weight. Sometimes even they weigh 200 pounds more than their ideal body weight. If they start losing weight, let me tell you, the diabetes will start to go away. In my opinion, most type 2 diabetic can reverse the diabetes by getting down to ideal body weight by following whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. Obviously, there is a big craze going on about keto diet and diabetes and weight loss. I'm personally not in favor of keto diet. I think keto diet is very unhealthy. Obviously, I want you to do your own research. I want you to watch YouTube videos. I want you to read books. I want you to ask your doctor. I want you to ask your friends and their experience and make your own conclusion and make your own decision. But I highly recommend not to go on a keto diet. Um, The next question was, how does the weight loss applies to teenagers and kids? And that's a very good question. Teenage obesity is almost 30 to 35%, and that's very, very concerning, very, very frightening. All these teenage people, if they are overweight and obese by age 10, 15, 17, then there are very high chance of developing many chronic disease, including type 2 diabetes, including high blood pressure, including even premature cancers, including premature Alzheimer's disease and strokes and vascular disease. So teenage obesity should be prevented by all means. And if you, as a family leader, as a mom or dad, if you start employing whole food, plant-based, no oil diet, start eating at home, avoiding fast food, avoiding restaurants, let me tell you, teenage obesity will go down and your son or daughter will start to lose weight. Definitely no soda, both the regular soda and diet soda, no energy drinks. We don't need any of those processed drinks. And kids will start losing weight. I think as a mom or dad, you have a personal responsibility to make sure your kids are the most healthy kids possible. The obese kids actually don't have good grades in school. They don't do good. They don't do well in college. They don't many times finish college. They already start having many doctor's appointments, many hospitalizations, and that should be prevented by all means. So I think the question on teenage obesity is a very, very important question, very valid question. We need to prevent teenage obesity. Matter of fact, it's said that a kid who is born today may live less than his or her grandkids 70, 75 years from now. And as you all know, last 4 years, the longevity or the lifespan in America has gone down. And it's partly because of many chronic disease, partly because of type 2 diabetes, partly because of obesity. I did another informal data collection in my own practice. And even though my practice is a cardiology practice, a biased practice, a lot of sick patients, the obesity was almost 55 to 60%. And if you look at African American women in my practice, it's close to be 90 or 100% of obesity. And if you look at across America, not just my own patients, African American women have almost 55% obesity, and that's partly because of a lot of processed food, a lot of cheap fast food, a lot of low cost, low nutrient food, partly because of poverty, partly because of uh, uh, food deserts into many of the downtown big cities. So that needs to be prevented. African American population is at very high risk of developing obesity, and that's the reason many African Americans end up having blood pressure requiring 3 or 4 medications, end up having diabetes, going on insulin. Many of them go on dialysis. Many of them actually end up having amputation. Many of them have many chronic disease. Many of them develop stroke. Many of them develop Alzheimer's disease. So again, African American population, African American women particularly, is a very high risk. So if you are African American women, do everything in your power not to eat processed food. Eat homemade, healthy, whole food, uh, uh, plant-based, no oil food as much as possible. Other question was that as I start losing weight in healthy way, how will my health improve? Let me tell you one thing: obesity leads to at least 50 different diseases, and I listed those in my segment one and segment two. I'll list it again. But obesity leads to many chronic disease, including high blood pressure, diabetes, premature cancer, Alzheimer's disease, stroke, vascular disease, arthritis, fatty liver, cirrhosis of the liver, GI reflux, uh, lung disease, varicose veins, many disease. So as you start losing weight, many of those chronic disease will start to reverse. Many of those chronic disease will go away. When I see many of my patients, they are on, particularly if they are above 65, many of them are on 7 or 8 medications. A lot of patients in my practice who are above 65 are on 10 medications. That's just too many medications, too many complications of medications, too much expense, too much expense of the medications, too much interactions of medications. It's almost like a polypharmacy where people are taking tons of drug for tons of disease, and they all have interactions with each other, and they never make you feel better. So I think your role, your main goal and your role is to reverse all the chronic disease as much as possible, and that's where losing weight in a healthy way will start. And then as you work with your own doctor, many of this chronic disease will start to go away. I think if you are sincere, if you are serious, I think I can tell you, you will lose anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds per week. That's 50 to 100 pounds a year. That's a significant amount of weight loss, and most of your chronic disease will go away. Matter of fact, in terms of type 2 diabetes, losing as low as 25 pounds can get you off insulin, can get you off many medications. And if you lose 50 pounds, if you need to lose 50 pounds, and if you lose all 50 pounds, many of your medications will go away. So let me tell you, weight loss is not just cosmetic benefit, it's a lot of disease benefits also, and in terms of a lot of the health improvement and living long. Obviously, people who lose weight, people who become lean, people body mass index below 22, they actually have a higher self-esteem, they get more promotions, they get more salary, they get hired more, many of them are employed properly, they get higher respect in society. So I think being lean not just is a benefit in terms of health, but in terms of many other material benefit, many other societal benefit. So make sure you try your best to get to the lean body weight of 22 or below. Um, Next thing is there was a question about role of insulin. I think I actually like that question because if people want to check one lab to judge their health, that will be insulin level. Insulin level will predict whether you are insulin resistant or not, particularly people who are not type 1 diabetic. For an average American, checking insulin level is very important. Insulin level anything above 6.5 would be unhealthy. So you can easily ask your doctor to check the insulin level and a glucose level. And you can calculate actually your HOMA level or HOMA ratio, which actually tells you how much insulin resistant you are. If you are overweight or obese, there is a very high chance that you are insulin resistant, or you have a prediabetes or near diabetes. If that's the case, checking insulin level and checking glucose level would be very beneficial. I highly recommend checking insulin level. My insulin level runs anywhere between 4.5 and 6. And I used to be pre-diabetic 5 years ago. Now my A1C runs 5.2. I'm sure most of you or all of you know your A1C, particularly if you are pre-diabetic or diabetic. So checking A1C, which is the measure of 90-day average sugar, is also very important. So ask your doctor to check A1C, glucose, and insulin level, and you will have an idea whether you are insulin resistant or not. The reason I stress this thing is because people who are overweight or obese, they are at very high risk of developing insulin resistance. Particularly if you are from South Asian subcontinent, then even at a low weight, you have a high risk of developing insulin resistance. Many Indians, even at a body mass index of 21 or 22, are insulin resistant, and their A1C runs above 5.7. Many Indians need to keep their body mass index below 21, possibly even 19 or 20, to prevent type 2 diabetes. So again, insulin resistance is a major issue. People who are overweight and obese, and many Indians even who are not overweight or obese, and checking glucose, checking insulin level, and checking A1C becomes very important. There was another question about lipoprotein A. Lipoprotein A is a very important molecule. It essentially is a type of cholesterol, It's actually low density lipoprotein with a lipoprotein A attached to it. And people who have a high level of lipoprotein A, they are at a risk of developing a clot at the plaque in the arteries of the body, and they are at very high risk of developing heart attack. In America, lipoprotein A is about 25% of population. In Indians, it's as high as 40% of population. So I agree. There is a big push now to check lipoprotein A in every person because there's possibly a new drug coming out which can lower the lipoprotein A. Traditionally, statin type drug like Lipitor or Zocor or Crestor does not lower the lipoprotein A. At the same time, if you lower your total cholesterol to 100, 120, lipoprotein A importance goes down. If you cannot lower your lipoprotein A because it's genetically mediated, just lower your total cholesterol, lower your LDL, and most likely you will be fine. But stay tuned, there's a new drug in development right now to lower lipoprotein A. There is a book by Dr. Joe Kahn on lipoprotein A. The whole book on lipoprotein A, it's worth looking up on the Amazon, and that book is readily available. And the whole book talks about lipoprotein A. So lipoprotein A is an important molecule. And I think there was a comment that the last A1C was 5.8. So that's actually pre-diabetes. And that can be lowered by going on a whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. And it appears that that person possibly is from India. And I would say lowering your body mass index below 21, below 20 will reverse the insulin resistance and will bring your A1C down 5.7 or below. My A1C 5 years ago was 5.9. I lost 55, 60 pounds. I exercise every day. I 99% I eat whole food, plant-based, no oil diet. My A1C now runs 5.1, 5.2, very stable range for the last 4 years. So it's definitely easily reversible if you are sincere, if you are disciplined, and if you are strict. So I'm going to stop here. This video will be on YouTube. Please watch other videos on our YouTube channel on depression, on how to live up to age 110, on high blood pressure, and many other videos. My channel, Healthy Living with Dr. Ajay Shah, has now about 300 videos, so you can watch many of them. There are a lot of interviews from last year. There are interviews with Chef AJ, there's an interview with Brenda Davis, many good interviews with endocrinologists. So there are many good videos on my channel. Subscribe to my channel, watch it again and again, share this live with your friends and family if you think it will benefit, and share the YouTube videos with your friends and family. Thank you and have a great afternoon. See you soon in a few hours. Thank you. There was another question actually about stopping the metformin. I myself, even though my A1C is 5.2, I have not stopped the metformin because once you have insulin resistance, it's typically insulin resistance for life. My insulin is anywhere between 4 and 6.5, 4 and 6. So I'm staying on metformin. Metformin has some data in terms of longevity also. So the person who was commenting that the metformin was stopped, A1C was 5.8. I would continue metformin probably pretty much for life, or at least until the insulin level goes below 5 and sugar goes below 84. Sugar goes below 84 and insulin level goes below 5, and A1C is probably around 5.2, 5.3. Then I would stop the metformin. I would not stop metformin at A1C of 5.8. So I'll end the video right now, and I'll have another video in a few hours. Thank you.